Boys, girls, ladies, gentlemen, anyone and everyone in between, it's your boy Brian Von VA. Got a question for you today? DMs. What's the dumbest way a player at your table has died? Let us know in the comments below. Level 2 Rogue Ranger attempted to rob a potion shop in broad daylight. Nat won his first stealth check on the way inside. After describing the security measures that he could see with a very poor perception check, I thought he'd get the hint that this was, beyond his skill level, and even broke character to explain that at level 2, you don't need a dozen healing potions on you at all times. That's not how I run my games. He attempts to open the case that he sees has a glyph of warding on it because that's clearly where they keep the good stuff. Levels the building, kills himself in the process. Like, more than double damage, instantly unalived. Tried to do a cool trick where he threw dynamite and hit it with a firebolt midair to ignite it. Well, he missed. The enemy threw it back and it knocked him unconscious. They captured him, and in the resulting fallout of us trying to save him, we almost TPK'd. Only 2 of the 8 or so party didn't get knocked out or killed. I'm adding this on our DM's behalf. It was me. I'm that player who smashed the gravity-reversing artifact while standing on the roof of a 200-foot high cavern. I nearly took out the rest of the party as well, both the person on the roof with me and the person on the ground who had to avoid our falling bodies. They both rolled better than I did. Oh, I've got so many, but one of my absolute favorites was from a chronic barbarian fighter player who was playing a wizard for the first time. Yay! They had just gotten level 3 spells, and of course, he was excited to finally have Fireball. They had just entered a narrow cave system, and I spent quite a bit of time describing just how dangerously shabby the place had been dug out by what they believed to be kobolds and hobgoblins. As they were walking, I described a swarm of bats getting spooked and flying away. This motherfucker, with zero hesitation, launches a fireball straight up at the bats, causing the ceiling to cave in, killing 2 out of 4, and setting the other 2 into immediate retreat back to town, injured and without heals. He chose to let that wizard retire permadead from his own silliness. This was neither the DM nor the player in question, but while playing Ghosts of Saltmarsh, our ranger became the lucky recipient of Bims the Pseudo-Dragon right at the end of a session. At the start of the next session, Ranger decided to go down into the hold of the ship we were on to find Bims, a nice juicy rat. Turns out the hold of the ship was infested with rot grubs. Ranger died while the rest of the party were settling into the cabins they'd chosen for themselves. The party was assisting a Fey Lord to help take out a powerful hag. The fight between the Fey Lord and the hag was set up behind a domed prismatic wall, while the players were supposed to stop the hag's minions outside the wall. It was all set up in advance. They knew this would be happening, and it was set up to protect them from the hag, who would essentially kill them in one hit. Enter chaotic stupid player. In the middle of the fight, he decides he wants to figure out what's going on behind the wall. He wastes 1 turn trying to see through the wall. I inform him you can't see through it, and then restate the general information about the wall the Fey Lord already told them. It's deadly, does a lot of different types of damage, etc. Not satisfied, the player tries to touch the wall. I decided they took half damage from the first wall since they weren't technically trying to reach through it. The player is a low enough level that a 5d6 is still a healthy chunk of their HP, but it won't kill them outright. Basically a "this is a stupid choice" warning. And here's where it went from stupid to stupid with 2 O's. That's extra stupid. He can fly, so he flies to the top of the dome and tries to do the same thing with his feet. Jesus, no. Are you sure? You almost died trying to touch it with your hand. You have no reason to believe it won't work on your feet. Did the Fey Lord ever confirm that, though? I mean, Not explicitly, but your character would have no reason to believe that's the case. Okay, I want to try it just in case. There's so many things I want to call this player. Okay, so you touch the dome with your foot. Take the damage again. Okay, you're dead now. Now, you were flying, so when you're knocked unconscious, you fall right through all the layers of the prismatic wall. I kinda saw that coming. Nothing falls out on the other end of the wall as you are disintegrated by all the damage. Make a new character. I just want their reaction to this entire situation really bad. This one I felt a little bad about. They were mining for something. I don't remember what, and I had it set up that there was a chance for a purple worm to show up, attracted by the noise of the mining. Purple worm happens to come out right on top of the squishy wizard, who proceeds to get eaten. Fails his saving throws, and the other players took down the worm, but not fast enough for the wizard to survive. It wasn't even a major plot thing, just some random encounter. Player wasn't even upset, he wasn't enjoying the wizard, and was happy to roll up a new character. Never feel bad for giving a player a good death when they aren't enjoying the character they're playing. I had this hilarious situation happen just last session. The party was after a red dragon that had made its way to a mountain range. Just next to these mountains is the dwarven mining town of Blackmoor, known across my setting for its talented smiths and dedication to brewing. When the party arrives, they are with a group of other adventurers, with whom they agreed to rest and buy supplies in Blackmoor, then meet back up the next day to take on the mountains. The fighter goes to the alchemist for some fire resistance potions. The monk goes to the general store after a guard suggests that she buy some warm clothes for the mountain climb. The druid goes to the tavern for a nice drink and a nap. They ask the bartender what kind of rum he recommends. Now, as this was a dwarven town, a popular drink was dwarven dark rum, an extremely potent beverage that is basically poison to non-dwarves who aren't very accustomed to it. The druid, who is not a dwarf, asks for an entire bottle. The bartender asks if they're sure twice, then has them sign a waiver removing any responsibility from the tavern if the rum harms or kills them. After asking if they're sure a third time, the bartender sells the druid the bottle. Here comes the thunder. The druid stands on a stool and starts to chug the fucking lethally strong rum. Now, rules-wise, this rum dealt 1d20 poison damage per shot, but the damage only kicked in a minute after drinking, as it should, and the damage was only 1 for dwarves and accustomed drinkers. A bottle contained 10 shots worth. For every 2 shots that went down, I asked for a con save. If the save was failed, the druid would vomit and then pass out, stopping them from drinking any further. So that was 5 con saves in total, and before each one, I asked if the druid wanted to continue and got a yes each time. 2 of the saves were passed naturally. 1 of them was passed thanks to an inspiration reroll, and 2 more were passed thanks to rerolls from the druid's lucky feat. And after going through all that trouble to pass every save, 114 poison damage, enough to kill the druid twice. I narrate them finishing the bottle, then immediately blacking out. The fighter and the monk finish their respective business and head for the tavern themselves, both arriving at the same time to a shocked crowd inside. Laying there dead next to a shattered bottle of rum and an upturned stool covered in vomit was the druid. The session ended right there with the monk noticing a couple of thieves trying to sneak out the door with the druid's sword. Everyone was holding back laughter at how suddenly things had gone stupid, and once I mentioned the bartender had fainted, everyone lost it. There were half a dozen warnings and 3 opportunities to stop at the failed saves, but choosing to re-roll them. That druid was gonna finish that rum or die trying. And they got both, I guess. But everyone agreed it was a hilarious and memorable way to go out. That's gonna leave a lot of bard tales, I imagine. The Paladin of Glory decided to jump straight through a wall of fire spell after taking multiple hits from the enemy, then rolled a nat 1 on her second death saving throw. Considering the other shenanigans the party has miraculously survived, maybe it's not all that surprising. For myself, cheekily telling an enemy to take their best shot, immediately getting shot, and going down. Not the DM, but the player. Our group needed to go down about 100 feet of rope while being chased. The first and second successfully do so. Next is myself, then the fourth one. I managed to get almost the DC to catch the rope, and the fourth jumps and fails, tries to grab me, and I try to hold onto the rope but fail the strength roll. 1d 6 to 10 feet. At level 1, we both splattered 100 feet down. Humpty Dumpty ain't coming back from that one. Ha! Me, myself, in the last game I played as a player before becoming a DM. I had a really bad day in real life, like I was distracted. I played a level 6 barbarian dwarf with a very, very low intelligence. Didn't think it would translate to real world choices. Basically, in a dungeon, I came across some slime. Well, as we should all know now, and as I knew, slime and slashing damage aren't a good combo. They kept multiplying. I kept swinging and cursing. Eventually, they just outnumbered me, downed me, and a series of bad rolls on the death saving throws were the end of Dorian Strongbeard. She decided she wanted to feed Doru in Curse of Strahd, so she went out to find some rats, and got her wish. The first house had 120 rats in it, 5 swarms randomly rolled. She was too set in her ways to remember that disengage was a thing. I brought her back as a warlock to the Mother of Sorrows, with her permission of course. The second player approached 4 villagers who were werewolves in human form, setting a trap for them. He tried to be nice and friendly, walking away from the group, and was immediately killed. Side note, he was an undying patron warlock death tyrant, and he didn't take the language that would allow him to read his own contract or talk with his patron. The party was trying to rescue a were-rat king from a goblin tinkerer. When they got to the goblin's base, the paladin wanted to make sure the true king was still alive. The goblin agreed to let one person in. The paladin followed. He got to the middle of the base alone, saw all the minions and other things the goblin had ready, then attacked the goblin because of how he was treating the imprisoned king. I had the others see the commotion and rush in, but by the time they dealt with and navigated the traps, the goblin had killed the paladin. The player's eyes showed that he knew he made a mistake after the first round of damage from the goblin and his robotic minion. First, a near thing. A problem player who hogged the spotlight, among other things, in my Rome game, found the random-ass ancient dragon in the middle of Icewind Dale as it got up out of the snow. The player tried to greet the dragon as everyone else ran for cover. The dragon breathed on him. The PC lived by the skin of his teeth. In hindsight, I should have killed the PC and thrown the player out of my game. Second, a legendary story I heard long ago in the days of yore. 2nd edition AD&D. The PCs find themselves surrounded by enemies. They bicker about what they should do. The thief takes matters into his own hands, stabs himself in the belly. This. Pulls knife left. Really? Pulls knife up. Sucks! Dead. Then the band of tropes come in to rescue them. Oops. While the party was running away, the cleric put himself in front of an Elder Earth elemental and shouted, "You shall not pass!" The end. Same person, different character, elf. He accidentally released a powerful devil. The devil was grateful and offered a pact. The devil would not harm the character as long as he kept the secret of the devil's liberation. The pact was broken 10 minutes later. Same person, same character, after he was reincarnated as a half-elf. When the campaign was finished after several years, the mighty Vanguardahast of Cormia offered the party any wish, not the spell, he could fulfill. The now half-elf wanted to be changed back into an elf, a full elf. I, the DM, told the player he had to pass a system shock roll, 99% Constitution 18. He said something like, Easy. And rolled 100. The party heard around town that a certain tavern was obviously controlled by a local bandit group they were investigating. So they decided to go there. As they arrived, they didn't encounter any bandits at first, but later a big group of them came by. The bandits were in a good mood, but a certain player, an undead bounty hunter, decided to antagonize and later fight them. So that quickly turned into a TPK, but since only one person failed their death saving throws, I turned it into a jailbreak type of thing. And of course, the player that failed the saving throws was the new addition to the party, and not the one who instigated the whole debacle. However, that same player, the undead bounty hunter, decided out of his own will to enter a holy temple. You can probably guess how fast he was found out. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let us know in the comments below what's the dumbest way a player at your table has died. And of course, if you want to support the channel, join our membership program. You get to keep the lights on, and you get to have early access to videos. We love you all. Please be safe, happy, and healthy. See you next time. Toodaloo.